Welcome to part 7 of Let's Play Crypt of the Sorcerer by Ian Livingstone. At the end of the last part, I was about to read paragraph 279. Here we go. You find the balloon and basket where you left them, and drag them out of the tunnel entrance and down the hillock. We must build a huge fire so that we can inflate the balloon with hot air, Borri says authoritatively. I'll lay out the balloon while you two gather some wood. It takes you nearly 3 hours to scour the barren plain and find enough wood to build a decent fire, but at last you are ready. Borri takes a metal pipe out of the basket, connects it to the neck of the balloon, and suspends the other end over the fire. The balloon soon fills with hot air and is nearly inflated when you suddenly see dust rising into the sky on the horizon. Horses approaching, Sim says calmly. I hope you are nearly ready, Borri. The horses quickly come into view, and you see that there are six, each being ridden hard by a hobgoblin. Borri orders you to untie the rope which is holding the balloon fast to a tree stump, and then climb up the rope as the balloon ascends. But the strain on the rope makes it difficult to untie, and you waste valuable seconds before deciding to cut through it with your sword. You are suddenly jolted upwards by the rope, while at the same time a hobgoblin rides underneath you and leaps out of the saddle to try to grab your legs. Roll 2 dice. If the total is the same as or less than your skill, 10 to 253. If the total is greater than your skill, 10 to 331. Okay, I have it on good authority again that if we fail this, we're dead. So we need this dice roll to be 11 or lower. And it was. Good. Let's remove the buzzing, should there be any. Okay, so that was less than or equal to our skill, and we're turning to 253. The hobgoblin just misses your foot and falls to the ground with a thump. To the cheers of Borri and Sim, you haul yourself up the rope and scramble into the basket, 10 to 226. The balloon seems to climb agonizingly slowly into the sky, and as you look over the side of the basket, you see the 6 hobgoblins, who have dismounted, loosing their arrows at you. Roll 1 die to determine the number of arrows that reach their target. Then for each one on target, roll the die again. If you roll 1 to 5, the arrow lodges itself into the basket. If you roll 6, the arrow will hit you. Lose 2 stamina points for each arrow that hits you. If you are still alive, 10 to 294. Okay, so roll 1 die to determine the number of arrows that reach their target. Okay. Okay, 1. Okay, so for each 1 arrow, we need to roll another die. So 1 to 5 or 6. And we get a 5, so that means the arrow lodges itself into the basket. Okay, so we don't lose any stamina points. That means we're still alive and we're turning to 294. What is their problem? Why do they have to try and hurt you all the time? Anyway, anyway, there's the situation there. So now we're turning to 294. Okay, the balloon climbs up into the sky beyond the range of the arrows. That was a close call, mutters Borri, but at least we are safe up here. Let's hope this wind keeps up. Let's hope this wind keeps up to push us northwest. Feeling weary, you sit down in the basket and decide to snooze for a while. But Borri, back in his beloved balloon, is in a talkative mood and tries to keep you awake. I'm amazed at the price of things these days, he says. Do you know how much a good warhammer costs, even in a city of thieves like Port Blacksand? If you wish to continue the conversation, turn to 198. If you'd rather tell him to keep quiet so that you can sleep, turn to 49. Okay. We are going to continue the conversation and turn to 198. In a bored tone, you reply that you have no idea how much a warhammer costs. 35 gold pieces, I tell you, Borri says excitedly. It's ridiculous. For that, you can buy a good pair of leather boots, a sword with a shield, and still have change left for a hot meal and a flagon of ale in a tavern. When I get home, I'm going to become a blacksmith and specialize in weapons. Borri rambles on for the next 2 hours, telling dwarf legends and tales of his life. But suddenly, Sim points west and shouts, "Look, a speck in the sky, and it's moving towards us." When you focus your eyes on the object in the sky, your heart sinks. Turn to 152. Okay, 152. The object in the sky is a gigantic winged creature with a long neck and tail. Its scales are red, and the creature measures nearly 25 yards in length. Some dragons are neutral, others are unfriendly, but an adult red dragon is always hostile, and worse still, it can shoot fireballs from its mouth. What a shocker, it's hostile. Borri, get this contraption on the ground as quickly as you can, or we are all done for, warns Sim. But it is too late. The red dragon swoops down and shoots a fireball straight at the balloon. The balloon ignites in a ball of flame and plunges towards the ground. If you know how to call on the Suma to help you, turn to his number. If you do not know what to do, turn to 106. Okay, so do we know the Suma? Let's have a quick look. Okay, call Suma 11 if I need help. Okay. Okay, so we do, and we're turning to his number. There's the picture. Okay, so we're turning to 11. As you plunge down towards the ground, a human materializes beside you, golden and glowing. The Suma simply smiles and says, "I will save you now, but I cannot help you again." It then disappears, and much to your surprise, the red dragon returns and flies underneath you, allowing you to drop onto its back. The three of you scramble up onto its neck and fly northwest. The dragon riders of Alanzia. Sometime later, after Moonstone Hills come into view, the red dragon glides down to land. As soon as you have dismounted, the dragon flies off, leaving you unharmed. You realize that it is only an hour before sunset, and so you look around for somewhere to sleep, to be well rested to meet your ultimate adversary. If you wish to sleep among the nearby trees, turn to 257. If you wish to walk to the edge of the hills to sleep, turn to 28. Okay, we are going to walk to the edge of the hills to sleep, and therefore turn to 28. Off we go. You reach the hills in less than 20 minutes and soon find a small cave in which to shelter. You fall asleep and wake not long after sunrise. Add 2 stamina points. Okay, puts me up to 16. More respectable now. Okay, the sky is as dull and grey as ever, and as you step outside the cave, you notice that all the grass around is dead, and the trees looked charred and blackened. It can't be far to the fissure, says Borri as he steps outside to join you. Just follow your nose. I can smell the stinking vapour from here, agrees Sim as he emerges from the cave. Come on, follow me. As Sim strides off uphill, Borri calls out that he can see a robed figure walking towards the cave. If you wish to wait to meet whoever is approaching, turn to 167. If you would rather follow Sim, turn to 313. Okay, we are going to wait to meet whoever is approaching and turn to 167. You soon see that it is a little old man dressed in yellow robes. He is completely bald and appears to be blind, although he makes his way towards the cave quite nimbly, tapping the ground in front of him with a crooked stick. When he gets close, you see that his robes are covered with strange symbols. He suddenly stops walking and stands upright, but says nothing. If you wish to talk to him, turn to 96. If you would rather walk on up the hill, turn to 313. Okay, there he is. Okay, we're going to talk to him and turn to 96. Not trusting anybody in this dangerous land, blind or not, you keep your distance from the old man and ask him where he is going. To see my old friend the healer, he replies in a soft voice. He lives in Moonstone Hills, but what brings you here? If you wish to reply that you intend to slay Razak, turn to 179. If you wish to reply that you are a servant of Razak, turn to 76. Okay, we're going to reply that we intend to slay Razak and turn to 179. Here we go. The old man smiles and nods his head with satisfaction. This is indeed a monumental task that you have set yourselves, and I would like to help you if I can. I used to have great skills as a reader of symbols and languages, but the cursed Lord Azura had my eyes put out in his dungeons under Port Blacksand. The wizard Nicodemus managed to secure my release, but now, of course, my skills are greatly diminished. But if you have anything written that you cannot understand but can read out to me, then I'll gladly help you. If you have a piece of parchment with strange writing on it, turn to 336. If you do not possess a piece of parchment, turn to 195. Okay, do we have a piece of parchment? Let's have a look. Faded parchment 66. Yes, we do. Therefore, we do have one, and we're turning to paragraph 336. Off we go. You read out the words on the parchment, but the old man soon becomes irritated by your poor pronunciation. Read out the words letter by letter, he says sharply. You do as instructed, but when you finish, the old man remains silent. Finally, he grunts in satisfaction and says, "Well, you have found yourselves quite a useful item. The language is Hamakian. Hamakian. The Hamakai, in case you are interested, are the last remnants of a more sorcerous age. A few of them still live in desert wastelands. They are very strange creatures with withered bodies and vulture-like heads, and are kept alive well beyond their normal lifespan by arcane spells. They see themselves as scholars and are rarely drawn into conflict, so they concern themselves with protective magic. And what you have here is a magic screen against conjured animals or insects. Quite useful, really. To activate the spell, just say Hamakai and call out the number on the bottom of the parchment. Well, I must be going now, and so I'll say goodbye and wish you luck." You watch the old man for a few minutes as he sets off again, walking nimbly. Then you turn and follow Sim, who, as ever, is eager to press on. Turn to 313. Okay, so we have the Hamakai spell, which magic screen against conjured animals or insects. Is an insect not a type of not a type of animal? I don't know. Hamakai spell. Turn to 66. Protects. No. Forms a magic screen against conjured. Okay, new line. Conjured animals and insects. There we go. Good. Okay, therefore we're now turning to paragraph 313. Off we go. About half an hour later, you hear the battle cry of a warrior and the clash of steel coming from over the brow of the hill. If you wish to investigate, turn to 7. If you would rather walk by, turn to 162. Okay, we're going to walk by, and therefore turn to 162. After an hour of trekking through the blackened hills, you reach your goal at last. Lying at the bottom of a valley like a giant open wound, the fissure throws out its putrid vapour into the air. You step warily to the jagged edge of the fissure and look down inside the gaping maw. Steps run down one side into a black void, but there is little else to see. You step back from the edge to work out a plan. If you wish to wait for a servant of Razak to appear, turn to 81. If you would rather go down the steps straight away, turn to 381. Okay, we're going to wait for a servant of Razak to appear and turn to 81, which is half this paragraph, which is interesting. About an hour later, a hooded figure steps out of the fissure, dressed in ragged black robes and carrying a black staff. The figure looks down. My apologies. The figure looks from side to side, and you see that its head is skeletal, but has glowing red eyes. "A demonic servant," you whisper. "I'll take it with my sword." Sensing no danger, the demonic servant drops to its knees and begins a ritual of bowing and chanting. You seize your chance and run at it, sword in hand. Totally unafraid, it meets your blow with its bare hands, and you are surprised by its unearthly strength. Demonic Servant, skill 8, stamina 7. Fight the lesser demon as normal, but if you win 2 consecutive attack rounds, the spell animating its body will be broken, and it will collapse into a pile of bones. If you win, turn to 93. Okay, Demonic Servant, skill 8, stamina 7. So ideally we want to win 2 consecutive attack rounds. Okay, Demonic Servant. Skill, what is it? I always forget, 8, 7. Only 15 minutes before my first encounter. Alright, so off we go. My skill is 11, his is 8, off we go. 8 plus 5 is 13. I get 17, so 13 to 17. Puts him down to 5. Okay, 8 plus 3 is 11. I get 21, so 11 to 21. And that forms the 2 consecutive attack rounds that I've won, so therefore he is now dead, or rather he collapses into a pile of bones, and that's the end of him. Okay, so that's that. Okay, if you win, turn to 93. We did. You strip the demon of its robe and put it on, pulling the hood well over your head. That's you sorted out, but what about us? Asks Borri. You reply that you think you should go alone so as to attract less attention. Borri and Sim argue against your idea, but they see your point that without disguises they would hinder rather than help. They agreed to wait 3 hours for you and then come after you if you haven't returned. You shake their hands and walk down the steps into the dark depths of the fissure. The foul air makes you heave, but you carry on regardless. Your eyes gradually become accustomed to the gloom, and your nose even gets used to the foul stench. When you reach the bottom, you see that the vapour is rising from a large stone bowl containing a thick red liquid, which glows as though it were molten metal. No heat is given off by the sludge, just the nauseating smell. Or nauseous smell, because nauseous means nauseating. You also see water in a nearby rock pool, and it occurs to you to pour the water on the sludge to stop the vapour rising. If you want to do this, turn to 64. If you would rather press on to find Razak's crypt, turn to 181. Okay. Okay, so let's just write down that we have a robe. There we go. So we have a robe. And then we're going to press on to find Razak's crypt and turn to 181. You walk around the bottom of the fissure and find a crack in the wall just wide enough to squeeze through. You also find a lever protruding from the wall at the other end of the fissure. If you wish to squeeze through the crack, turn to 396. If you wish to pull down on the lever, turn to 321. Okay, we're going to squeeze through the crack and turn to 396. Pushing and hauling yourself through the crack, you eventually step out into a large empty chamber. 2 black candles give off a dim light, and you notice that it is extremely cold. A narrow tunnel in the opposite wall leads out of the chamber, and on the floor you see a trapdoor which is bolted down. You press your ear to the trapdoor and hear some snuffling sounds coming from underneath. If you want to unbolt the trapdoor, turn to 228. If you would rather walk down the narrow tunnel, turn to 297. We're going to walk down the narrow tunnel and turn to 297. After 30 yards, the tunnel opens out into another chamber. The floor is littered with skulls, each one looking as if it had been smashed by a blunt instrument. At one end of the chamber there is a heavy iron door which is firmly bolted shut. As you approach, you hear a dull thumping on the door. At the other end of the chamber you see an archway which has a surround sculpted with demons and serpents. If you wish to unbolt the door, turn to 115. If you'd rather walk through the archway and into the tunnel beyond it, turn to 264. Okay, we're going to walk through the archway and into the tunnel beyond it and turn to 264. Off we go. Now the tunnel soon ends at a T-junction. If you want to go left, turn to 156. If you want to go right, turn to 199. Okay, we're going to go left and turn to 156. The only light in the cold tunnel comes from black candles and set 10 yards apart. Some of them have burned out and others are burning very low. If you wish to wait to see if anybody comes along to replace the candles, turn to 191. If you would rather keep walking, turn to 217. Okay, we're going to wait to see if anyone comes to replace the candles and turn to 191. After waiting 10 minutes, you hear the dull clanking sound of chains being pulled along the stone floor. Soon you see the outline of a figure approaching from the T-junction. When it passes the light of a candle, you see that its clothes are hanging in rags, and its pallid skin is scarred and peeling. Its feet are chained together, and it seems to labour with the effort of walking. You realise that the figure is a zombie, no doubt in the service of Razak. It stops 10 yards in front of you to put a new candle in an empty holder. If you wish to attack the zombie, turn to 101. If you wish to creep away and continue down the tunnel, turn to 217. Okay, we are going to attack the zombie and turn to 101. If you have a phial of holy water, turn to 41. Otherwise, you must fight the zombie with your sword. Turn to 318. Okay, do we have any holy water? Let me just do a search. Holy. Oh, yeah, there it is. Why didn't I see that? Yeah, we have a phial of holy water, so we're going to use that. And therefore turn to 41. You unlock the phial. You uncork the phial, walk up to the zombie, and throw the water at it. It eats like acid into the undead being, causing smoke to rise from its flesh. Roll one die. If you roll 1 to 5, turn to 373. If you roll 6, turn to 74. Okay. Let's roll one die. And we get a 2. Okay. Okay, so that's a 1 to 5, so we're turning to 373. Now, the number you rolled was the number of points to be deducted from the zombie's stamina. Reduce the zombie's stamina accordingly before the fight. Zombie skill 6, stamina 6. If you win, turn to 74. Okay, zombie 6, and we need to deduct 2 stamina points from it. Okay, zombie 6, and we immediately take off 2, so that puts it down to 4. Okay, my skill is 11, his is 6. Off we go. 6 plus 9 is 15. I get 14. Wonderful. So 15 to 14. I was about to say this looks like an easy fight, but that didn't happen. All right. Okay, 6 plus 6 is 12. I get 16. So 12 to 16. Puts it down to 2. Okay, 6 plus 5 is 11. I get 18. So 11 to 18. That's the end of Mr. Zombie. Okay. Okay, so that's that. Let's remove any buzzing, should there be any. Yes. Yes, I know. Press the wrong button. Okay. Okay, if you win, turn to 74. We did, so off we go. 74. The zombie slumps to the floor and does not move. You search quickly through its rags and find nothing of interest apart from 5 black candles. But around its neck you find a copper identity tag with the number 283 stamped onto it. You remove the tag and hang it around your own neck on its rusted chain. Okay, so we have identity tag 283. So I'll just write that in here. Identity tag 283, then comma. Okay. Okay. If you still wish to keep walking down this branch of the tunnel, turn to 217. If you would rather turn back and walk past the T-junction and along the other branch of the tunnel, turn to 199. Okay, we're going to turn back and go past the T-junction. Yeah, so turn to 199. The cold tunnel is illuminated by black candles set 10 yards apart. You walk on until you come to a huge stone chair carved in the shape of a goat-headed demon. If you wish to sit in the chair, turn to 26. If you would rather keep on walking, turn to 248. Okay, we're going to sit in the chair and turn to 26. As soon as you sit in the chair, iron bars shoot out of the arms and across your lap, making it impossible to move. A hissing voice comes from the mouth above your head, saying, "What is your number?" If you are wearing an identity tag, turn to the number stamped on it. If you do not have an identity tag, turn to 136. Okay, so we do have the identity tag from the zombie, and it was 283. So we're turning to 283. I thought zombies couldn't talk. I don't know. You hear a grinding sound, and slowly the giant chair starts to swing back through an opening section of the wall. The bars holding you into the chair slide back, and you are able to stand up in the large room in which you find yourself. The chair slides back into the tunnel, and now the only possible way out for you is through a door in the opposite wall. There is a sign on the door which reads, "Lock the door before opening." You are puzzled by the sign, which appears to make no sense. You try the handle and find that the door is not locked. However, if you have a key and wish to do as the sign says, turn to 189. If you do not have a key or do not wish to use it, turn to 334. Okay. Okay, do we have a key? Yes, we have a bronze key. So that's that. So we're turning to 189. Off we go. You take the bronze key out of your pocket, place it in the lock, and turn it. You try the handle and find that the door opens despite being locked. Still puzzled, you walk through the door and find yourself in a cold chamber which is adorned with statues of demons and evil gods. At the far end of the chamber, a skeleton is sitting motionless on an ornate throne. It is wrapped in a purple and gold gown and wears a jeweled crown on its skull. Behind the throne is a huge granite door. Suddenly, the jaw of the skeleton moves, and in a deep voice it says, "I am Ungoth, skeleton lord, master of knowledge, guardian of the crypt of the necromancer Razak. What business have you here, worm being?" You panic as you try to think of a reply. If you wish to answer that you have been in Port Blacksand to buy weapons and persuade Lord Azur to join Razak in conquering Alanzia, turn to 364. If you would rather attack the skeleton lord with your sword, turn to 223. Okay, there's the skeleton lord. Okay, we are going to answer that we have been to Port Blacksand to buy weapons, and therefore turn to 364. Wrong way. If what you say is true, I am sure my master will want to hear of Lord Azur's allegiance, but before I allow you entrance to my master, I must ensure that you are not a spy from the outside world. I will ask you some questions, continues Ungoth. Should you answer them correctly, then I will be convinced you are a true servant of Razak. You say you were in Port Blacksand, that venerable city of thieves, to buy arms. Now tell me, How many gold pieces would you pay for a warhammer? If you know the answer, turn to the number that it would cost. If you do not know the answer, turn to 291. Okay, we do know the answer, even though I didn't write it down. It's 35 gold pieces, okay, because that's what Sim told us. So turn to the number that it would cost. So we're turning to 35 because that's how much it costs. Yes, Port Blacksand is a city of thieves, continues Ungoth. You breathe a sigh of relief and prepare yourself for the next question. As you know, Razak has already secured the support of all the trolls of Alanzia. Our friends, the trolls, have some peculiar habits, the most ridiculous of which is their delight in eating hobbits' ears, especially in a competition. What is the record for the most eaten at once? Now, the thought of the disgusting spectacle fills your mind and you have difficulty concentrating on the answer. However, if you know it, turn to the number equivalent to the current Alanzian record. If you do not know the answer, turn to 303. Okay, I think we wrote this down. So, did I write this down? Because it's Hobbit or something? No. Yeah, there we are. Hobbit is eaten by a troll, 119. I should have written down also that price of a warhammer in Port Blacksand, 35 gold pieces. New line. Yeah, so it's 119 is the record for hobbit ears eaten by a troll. Yeah, so we're now going to turn to 119. Stupid trolls, but we need them in the short term, although Razak will no doubt dispense with them when he has conquered Alanzia. They are merely servants to tend the Gargantis which Razak has reared and will use to spearhead his army against the forces of Alanzia. You think of the white horn hidden in your robes and gulp and look away, hoping the skeleton lord does not detect your guilt. Anyway, continues Angoth, what I would like you to tell me is this. What number does Razak tattoo on the arms of his zombie tunnelers? If you know the answer, turn to the relevant number. If you do not know the answer, turn to 291. Okay, we do know the answer. Zombie arms, I wrote, or rather I typed zombie arms 5, so therefore we're turning to paragraph 5. That's why we've been getting all this information. It will not be long before Razak raises all the dead of Alanzia to fill his army's ranks with zombies. It will be a great day. I am beginning to believe you, but I will ask you one more serious question, says Angoth, rising from his throne. How old was Razak's father when he died? If you know the answer, turn to the number that was Tamal's age. If you do not know the answer, turn to 303. Okay. Where is it? Oh, here we are. Tamal is his father. So Tamal was 108. So we're turning to paragraph 108. Blimey, would the zombies all know this? I mean, seriously, how would they get past this? Yes, that is correct, says Angoth. I will now let you enter the crypt. Go through the granite door. You know the combination, of course. Almost unable to walk due to nervous expectation, you walk over to the granite door. You see a row of 9 metal rods, numbered 1 to 9, protruding from the wall. If you know which 3 to pull, turn to that number. If you do not know which ones to pull, turn to 291. Okay. Where's the information for this? So metal rods, 9 metal rods. Okay. Okay, granite door code 184. There we go. That's the first thing that we noted down. Granite door code 184. So we're turning to paragraph 184. Off we go. The huge granite door slowly slides open, and you are hit by a gust of cold mist. You see the outline of a figure shrouded in the mist and walk forward to meet it. If you are wearing a bronze talisman around your neck in the shape of a horned demon, 10 to 125. If you are not wearing a talisman, 10 to 276. Okay, we're not wearing the horned demon talisman, so therefore we need to turn to paragraph 276. Okay, let me just confirm that. Okay, we have a Crystal of Sanity talisman, but not the horned demon. I'll just put demon in here. Is that going to come up with a search? No. Okay. Yes. Okay, so there's nothing with demon on it. Okay, so we're not wearing that talisman, so we're turning to 276. Okay, the figure steps slowly towards you, and then through the mist you see that it is your old friend, the great wizard Yastromo. Hello, he says in a jovial voice. You didn't expect to find me here, did you? If you are wearing a gold ring set with an iridescent jewel, turn to 326. If you are not wearing this ring, turn to 164. Okay, are we wearing this ring? Okay, gold ring with a large jewel. Yes, we are. So we're turning to 326. Although you did not see it, the jewel in your ring is known as the Seeing Eye. Its wearer will see through all illusions, even if cast by the most powerful magic. Slowly, the features of Yastromo disappear to reveal the hideous figure of Razak in his true form. His body is grotesque, with a large domed insect-like back which curves up to his oversized head. One arm trails on the floor, while the other is withered and stunted. One eye bulges from its socket, and a twisted smile warps the left of his deformed face. Red veins pulsate on his bald skull, and you have never felt so repulsed in all your life. I knew you were an outsider, he sneers. I can feel the presence of my sword hidden in your robes. But you are out of your depth, worm. Suddenly he points his stunted arm at you, and a fireball shoots out from his scrawny fingertip straight at you. If you have inhaled the smoke from inside a smashed globe, turn to 351. If you have not inhaled the magic smoke, turn to 259. Okay, we have inhaled the smoke. I remember doing it. So therefore, we're turning to 351. Okay, there's Razak. Okay, and we will read paragraph 351 in the next video. So next paragraph is 351. I'll just type unread. There we go. And in the next video, we will be reading paragraph 351, obviously. So thanks very much for watching. We should be able to finish the book in the next video. I did say at most it would take 2 more videos at the end of the last part. So yeah, just one more video. So this book would have taken 8 parts. So yeah, one more video and then we're done. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, or are enjoying this, and hope to see you next time. Goodbye.